Wow.
Now.
Ding dingy dong, ding dingy dong, ding dingy dong. Is it Peter Griffin that did that one? Who else did it? There was one that came out in from somebody else where they did a. Do you like Burger King? I like Burger King. Yeah, they did it as the ding
Sounds
dingy
like Peter
dong
Griffin.
song. Yeah, he did it later, but it was somebody else did it in the early versions of what would become YouTube.
Okay.
But here we go. Let's get going. All right. Because we got to do a show and stuff.
This is how it is. 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 Today on Pop Culture Minefield. This is how it is. Today. This is how it is. Today on Pop Culture Minefield. This is how it is. This is how it is. Today on Pop Culture Minefield. Today on Pop Culture Minefield.
Yeah, baby. It's Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody. Merry Christmas, Red Shirt. Merry Christmas, Martine. Merry Christmas, love of my life.
I am not in love with the whatever that is you are making an impression of. Retarded, Gary.
Yeah, that's my
Hold on.
retard voice. Hey.
He's quality checking his own fart.
Oh my God.
Engine
You
is
know, they say
carburetor is burning right.
people like the smell of their own farts, but I don't. I never have. Not since I was a kid, man. I couldn't stand that shit. Like, oh my God. I even said it the other day coming in my room. I said, oh my God, I've got to watch the fiber. My room smells like a giant fart.
Ew.
But nobody belches and farts like my daughter, though. Anima got a taste of that when she was here. This beautiful, petite girl just all of a sudden she was like cranking one out, belching like a monster. It was awesome.
That was a beer belch, but yes, it was impressive.
We have to do a competition then with her and my daughter number 3. She
We
belches
still
like
need to do a show with our daughters. We need to do a show that is hosted by our kids. We just step aside and let them do a show. Talk about the crap they like to talk about.
That would be more fucked up than what you're doing, Gary.
Oh, that would be a roasting of unprecedented levels. They talking shit about us.
Now, a lot of people don't know that Bah Humbug, and by the way, hi, Country Shape Media, my single favorite James Hong monster mask. So it's James Hong Michael Myers. I swear to God, I don't know why that really looks like James Hong. It's crazy how much that looks like James Hong. Bah humbug. Humbug actually is a polite form of saying bullshit because it's actually scatological. It actually means bullshit. So, and what a lot of people misunderstand with Scrooge is that he believes that people are phony, that he is the one who truly has a honest heart. He believes everybody else are phonies that walk around with Merry Christmas on their lips. And you remember what he said about that, Anima?
No.
Oh, you didn't know this was a test. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, you should have studied.
Fuck you. Day 9 out of 12 without a day off. Cut me some
It's
slack.
basically
okay?
they should be boiled in their own pudding with
Oh,
a
that.
steak of holly shoved through their heart.
Oh yeah. That.
Because he considered
was
them all
awesome.
phonies and fake. And it's ironic. I was pointing something out before the show that Charles Dickens was a lifelong liberal. Period. He was a lifelong liberal, the kind of liberal I agree with. Some people have misconstrued him as being socialist because there was an early form of socialism that got started around that time, but that's not what he was. He believed in social programs, but he believed that charity began at home and that it was up to you as an individual to help others, that you shouldn't rely on the government to do it, which is ironic as today. I showed Martin the research that was done that shows that statistically, based on metadata, that conservative people, and I'm talking about politically conservative, not social conservative, politically conservative people tend to give more to charities and are more charitable. But then the data points out that liberals believe that they are charitable in the fact that they support programs for the poor.
That's what Scrooge thinks.
And that's
And he's
exactly
already
what Scrooge
supporting
thinks.
them. Yeah.
Are the workhouses not in full vigor?
And he's
in
paying money
Britain,
there, yeah.
in Britain
Are
during
there
the
no
Victorian era.
prisons? Are there no
prisons?
Yeah, right.
workhouses?
Yes. And that I pay my taxes, and that is what and sadly, this is what people today think is being charitable. Many people today think that by paying their taxes, they're being charitable for the poor, and that is always the worst way to do it. And we need to get back to the old way of doing things, where again, charity begins at home. Are you charitable to the people in your life? The people that actually matter in your life. And even Scrooge says it at the end of the story that I will carry Christmas around in my heart year round, not just one day a year. Which is, again, something that he was kind of onto early on, because he considered everybody phony because they only seem to give a shit one day a year.
Right.
He also said something that I agree with, especially now working in retail. Christmas is just to make people buy things that they don't need and can't afford. I see a lot of that, sadly.
Yeah, but as I said to somebody, only if you allow it to be that. And
Yes.
For example, in my house, yeah, we gave us gifts now and then. It's not all Christmas. Not all gifts are elaborate. What we cherish is the horrendous labor of preparing the food that it always took more than one day. But it's the whole family there, and we're laughing and joking and talking. That is the sense of this whole season, to be with your family and your friends and your extended family and your adopted family and love each other. So if yeah, there's people that only think on material possessions, but that's their problem. That's their vacuum to fill. Don't let them define what it is, what it means to you.
That's what Christmas was like when my mom was still alive. I never cared for Christmas, but it was just nice for all the grown-up kids to be home. And before my brothers had kids, they would stay the night. And they never did that as adults once they finished school. I did. But they always had their partners and would go back. But Christmas, we would actually all stay in one room. 5 people, 6 people. It was fun.
Yeah, what I always loved about Christmas, and it wasn't just the toys. In fact, I told you when I spoiled Christmas for myself one year when we were living with my grandmother in Phoenix. I think I was 6, and I knew where mom and dad had put the gifts, and so I snuck in while they're at work, and I saw everything they got me. So when Christmas morning came and I opened all my gifts, I already knew what I was going to get, and it was a real bummer. It's hard to be excited. Like, oh man, I already knew about these. Yes, I did. I learned a powerful lesson I've held on to this day. Don't peek.
When
It's
I was
okay.
a kid,
Let things go on.
when I was a kid, my father there was a room off our basement with a locked door that he turned into his workshop, and I actually built models there. But before Christmas, that door got locked, and I couldn't
Smart.
get in there. And
Smart.
all of my sister's presents and my presents went in that room, were wrapped in that room, and the night before Christmas they were put under the Christmas tree, and I had no idea. But the thing that really made a difference was my grandparents used to come over. My dad's parents used to come over for Christmas on their way to Florida for the winter. And so we had a big family, well, for our family, we had a big family Christmas. And it was always, nope, you have to give out the presents this year. And I'm like, oh, mom, do I really? Yes, you do. All right. And then what I found out was my father used to write silly to and from labels on the presents. And I've kept that tradition up, and he passed away last year, and I still do that to hot stuff from an appreciative fan or something like that. And
Right.
yeah, and it wasn't to Scott from Dad. It was something crazy. And to the next major leaguer, it was it was a baseball glove, whatever. But yeah, that the whole idea was that it was being with your family. It was being with your friends. It was being with people you cared about. And this movie is all about learning that Christmas is not about spending money, although he does. Spoiler alert. Haha. For a 100 and some odd year old story. It is about caring about other people, and somebody said that in the chat. It's not Scrooge's attitude towards Christmas that needs to change. It's his attitude towards other people that needs to change.
Towards life.
Well, I
It was
need to
just
say hello to
There it
people in
is.
the chat right now because I've been waiting for a lull, and I guess I'm just going to have to make a lull so I can say hi to everybody. We've got who else in the chat? We got Penny, Tom Baker, Gap After Dark is here, of course, Country Shape Media, Jacob the Critic, my buddy Jacob, and Scribelight is here. And let's go to some of these comments that I starred. Country Shape Media says, what's interesting about Scrooge? It was never about where he celebrated Christmas or not. It was not about whether he celebrated Christmas or not. It was his less than pleasant attitude towards others that needed to change. And that's pretty much it. That is where he has his change of heart, his renewal as a person, is he lets go of his covetous, miserly ways. which I do want to point out historically. It has been pointed out by scholars that two very wealthy men from the late 1700s up into the early 1800s were most likely models for Scrooge. And these were men that became so wealthy that they feared losing their wealth and began to look like they were impoverished because they didn't buy new clothes, shoes, they wouldn't upkeep their homes, and wouldn't eat properly. In fact, the mother of one of these famous men, I can't think of their names right now, actually died of starvation because she refused to buy food, fearing losing the wealth. That is the covetous nature of greed, and it's terrible. And these served to inspire Dickens, but Dickens was also inspired by the fact that he grew up in abject poverty, and his own father was imprisoned in a debtor's prison. That is not a crime, being in debt. And the United States was the first country to do away with that. You cannot be put in prison, even though they have found ways of circumventing that. The U.S. government can put you in prison over taxes. It's a debt. That is a debt.
Yeah, they are basically making you pay by taking your freedom away.
It's a
not
form
because
of
you committed a
extortion,
crime. It's like,
which is
yeah,
why
it
I'm
is.
excited that they may do away with the IRS completely. And they tax you on everything. A lot of people don't know that until you stop to really look. You pay taxes every time you go to the gas pump. You pay taxes when you buy things. You pay taxes when you get paid. If you inherit something, money that was already had its taxes paid for, you have to pay additional taxes for that if you inherit money.
Not
That
in Europe.
they
There's
have
no
a
tax on
system in the
inheritance
United
here.
States that is
Yet.
criminal. It is criminal in this country.
But of
How
all people,
we
you
get taxed.
Americans should know that you get taxed, because the prices in the shop are not the prices you pay at the cash desk, because tax
But
gets
hold
added,
on,
so-
you just said something important. Americans should know better. Because why did we start the revolution in the first place? We
Taxes.
revolted
That too.
over taxes. You cannot have taxation without representation in this country. And we get taxed constantly without representation. People aren't even aware of the taxes they're paying. In fact, if you, the greatest industry in the United States that built this country was tobacco. If you are a tobacco user, you have to pay a sin tax, not sin tax, a sin tax for every bit of tobacco you buy. Stop and think about that shit. You're paying with money you've already paid taxes on, and you got to pay taxes again on
I
everything.
don't
In some
understand though
states-
how you can be unaware of taxes when they are added at the cash desk. If
It's
anything,
crazy.
European,
That's the
Red shirt.
secret.
wait,
Yeah.
What
if
is?
anything,
In
Europeans
some
shouldn't be aware, because you need to check the receipt.
Hold on, Richard.
And at the bottom it says the tax.
Yeah. Okay,
Not
Richard, go ahead.
obvious to us.
Okay.
Go ahead,
In
Richard.
some states, you pay a sin tax on alcohol.
Booze, yes. Anything. If you pay an additional tax over top of your regular sales tax, it's always a sin tax.
Yes.
That
And by
it's-
the way,
it's insane.
Anima, what's a VAT stand for?
I don't know.
A value added tax?
Okay.
That's crazy.
Do you
That's
have that
insane.
do you have that in Germany?
I'm not in
Austria.
Germany, I'm
Austria.
That,
Austria.
no,
Jesus
that
Christ,
goes
Red.
for that goes
Yeah.
for the whole of Europe. You get I think 20%. And
Yeah.
on some items it's 15%, but everybody knows that. And you grab seeing the prices at the store are the prices that you pay, because tax is already included. And just having
Right.
spent 12 days in America and gone shopping with Gary, it's driving me crazy that tax is not
But
added.
Having
I can't do
having
shopping
seen
like that.
having been to Canada, which also has a VAT, you don't see the amount of money that's added to your bill for the VAT unless the cash register prints it out on your receipt. And that's what's known as a hidden tax. you're paying it, but they don't want you to know that you're paying a tax. And that's the most insidious one.
Here's one for you. I use DoorDash a lot, okay, for groceries and stuff like that. And you pay a tax to them, but you're also paying a tax to the store.
Yes.
For the items you're getting. So it's like you get double tax. It's fun. I love America. No.
Yeah.
I love this country. But I don't love the taxes.
A living wage.
Merry Christmas, Jacob. How are you doing? I hope you're having a good, safe Christmas, my friend. Let's see. Who is next? Gap After Dark, my friend. Hello, just another red shirt, country shape media. Gary, I got to get going. Time to eat Christmas dinner. Hey, watch out for all that carbs. Carb out. Tom Baker, who is in the middle of Europe. He's in Belgium. Never seen this or The Amateur. What?
Your geography sucks again. Belgium is not in the middle of Europe. It's in the western part.
I said middle of Europe, but then I remembered Belgium. So fuck off. Never seen this or The Amateur. Screened those now and loved both. Yeah, I don't care. I'm trying to get through these fucking messages. Merry Christmas to everyone from Scribe Light, you bright-headed bastard. Thank you, my friend. Happy Christmas. Jacob the Critic, shame on you, Gary. Of course. I have lots of shame. Which is why it makes the Ghost of Christmas Present throwing Scrooge's own words back at him. It is one of the best moments in the story when he throws his own words back at Scrooge and then tells him, maybe you should be cautious what you say until you know what and who that surplus population is. He gets a lot of comeuppance in the story. Let's see, 10 years ago, there were 12 chairs at our Christmas dinner. Now there were 8. But it's the same for everyone in every family sooner or later. Yeah, death is just part of the process. And I think that getting together with family is one of the great ways of reliving those that passed and talk about them. I miss getting together with my family, all my cousins and aunts. I miss those days. Getting older sucks. Bruce Willis once said Die Hard isn't a Christmas movie and neither is A Nightmare Before Christmas. But you know what, Jacob? He ended up having to eat his own words on that because it is a Christmas movie. And again, the rule is this, and Tom and I both of us agreed on this. I think it was like 3 years ago, we had our big thing about that, which is if the movie takes place at Christmas, okay, and it takes place during the holidays, but if you take that away from the film and it's still the same movie, it's not a Christmas movie. It's a Christmas movie when it's an integral part of the storytelling, like Die Hard. If you take it away, there's no party. All the gags are gone.
The ho, now I have a machine gun.
Yeah, now I have a machine gun. And then he pulls shit. Ho, ho, ho. Yeah,
dude,
great.
I'm looking for it, and you can buy that sweater for $38.
You didn't know that? Yeah, it's a thing.
So, yeah, he eventually reneged on that, Jacob. He did admit later. God, I feel so bad about Bruce. You know, it's so terrible what is happening to him. He's been robbed of his voice. And he has to walk around. And eventually it's going to take his memory away from him, too.
It's already beginning to do
it's
that.
A form of dementia, what happened to him. Yeah. And, Demi Moore's last post about it was heartbreaking. So, but anyway, those of us that grew up with Bruce Willis, fucking awesome. So anyway, Merry Christmas, everybody. I hope everyone is having a safe holiday. I hope that you have enjoyed being around family. I had a quiet Christmas. I expect next Christmas to be far more exciting because the animal will be here. And I expect to get my daughter for Christmas. This Christmas, her car doesn't work. She wasn't able to come here. I had to send her gift. It sucks. We're right on the other sides of the city from each other, but no way to get to each other. But we talked for a while last night. We had like almost an hour and a half conversation, just talking about people, talking about, oddly, where charity begins, which charity begins at home. You know, you call yourself a charitable person and you're shitty to people in your life, you're not a charitable person. For anybody who wants to do a watch along with this, before this begins playing, Martin, can you share out the links? The movie is free and available on YouTube, and you can watch the film along with us.
It wouldn't be a watch along because
we're doing a slideshow.
Yeah, this is shorter, very much
watch
shorter.
it. Watch the movie at 1.3 speed.
Oh yeah, that should work.
Maybe 1.5. I don't know.
The reason why this is my personal favorite, and I've seen all iterations. The worst iteration was the last BBC production with a great cast. Terrible story. Their telling of the story is just awful because it takes out all the uplifting spiritual, the good spiritual aspects of the story. And something interesting that a lot of people don't know, that modern spiritualism began in Victorian England. And this story has that interwoven within it, its tapestry, beginning with the haunting of Bob Marley. No. Jacob Marley, the ghost of Jacob Marley. And by the way, there is a book out there if you can find it. Give it a read. It's called Jacob Marley's Christmas Carol, which it shows you everything that is happening during the story, but from his position. Because the basic premise of the story is that the only way he gets to move on is if Scrooge can be changed. And by thus helping Scrooge do that, he is redeemed of his own sins. And it's a great little story. And I'm surprised Dickens didn't write that. It was written in the 1990s. So, so the first lines of the book, which actually is almost half a page of narration, which is directly actually coming from Dickens himself. And there's a lot of comical overtones throughout the story, including some of the dialogue from Scrooge himself or his thoughts. Because the one thing you don't get in any of the telling of the Scrooge stories, the Christmas Carol, is his thoughts. He has inner monologues. And so what they did in this story in particular, they took some of the inner monologue and turned it into actual dialogue. Where he says something to the ghost of Christmas past. He's kind of snarky with them. It was actually something he was thinking. And by the way, Tiny Tim is actually, I wrote a lot of these down so everybody can read this in the private group. Based off of scholarly research, it is believed that Tiny Tim was inspired by Dickens' own nephew, Henry Burnett Jr., who suffered the same way as Tiny Tim.
I read about that, yeah.
And there's another thing that I want to point out, that unlike so many of the socialists of the period, Dickens took personal responsibility for being charitable. And he had great pursuits in being a advocate for the poor and needy, and was constantly personally giving to these groups and organizations, and telling people basically what Ronald Reagan would say later in the 80s, that, you know, the one thing you better run from when you hear it is that I'm the government and I'm here to help. Run. They will not help. And this is a great conversation with him and Fred, his nephew. And there's a lot of people don't know that in the story, there was resentment between Scrooge and his nephew because he saw his nephew as having killed his own mother at birth. She died during childbirth. And that was the person he was most close to in his life.
That's why he resents his nephew, because he can't face him, because he looks so much like his mother. And in the end, he tells him.
Yes.
He has the wrong attitude is the problem with Scrooge.
Yes.
And that's what gets adjusted in this story. That he looks at things the wrong fucking way. And just one night with these three spirits, four spirits technically, he's visited by four ghosts, if you include Jacob Marley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'll die on
originally,
that.
by the way, David was asked to play Marley, but when he read the script, he says, "I want to be." I just got his name, the Clark that works for him,
Bob Cratchit.
Bob Cratchit.
Cratchit, yeah.
He saw that character and said, "No, that's the character I want."
Because
Yeah.
he's trying to I suppose he worked for him for a long time, and he has seen a little bit of how he used to be, and that's basically what the first Ghost is doing, Ghost of Christmas Past. Show him who he used to be, and you see him smile as he's watching scenes from his younger years. He's beginning to remember already with the first Ghost that he used to actually enjoy life, because now he isn't. He lives for his job, and he's just saving money everywhere, sitting in the cold, probably eating cold food. And that's the wake-up call that he needed. You used to be somebody who enjoys life.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna give you some names right now just to go through this. I want you to know what an amazing cast this film has, and it's a made-for-TV movie. Technically, ITC produced this. George C. Scott as Ebenezer Scrooge is a major coup. People say, "Well, I don't like his accent." I'm like, fuck that accent. He is the perfect actor. Nobody rages like George C. Scott. What a perfect voice for Scrooge. And I love the way he rages in this film. Frank Finlay, a great actor who I pointed out to Anima on several occasions in films that he was in. He's in one of my favorite war films, Zulu. He's in that movie.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Yep.
Edward Woodward, the original Robert McCall,
Yes.
is the Ghost of Christmas Present, who's basically Father Christmas. And he ages. Now, they don't show it in this one. I'm not sure if any of the live action productions of the character show what happens to him. In the book, he ages during his meeting with Scrooge.
In the animated version with Jim Carrey.
Yeah, I've never watched the animated. I'm sorry. I never got to watch them. I was into live action even as a kid. I just wasn't interested in the cartoons. And there's David Warner. God, I love that man. We got Susanna York playing Mrs. Cratchit. You got Roger Reese. You just met him as Fred Hollywell, his nephew. Another great casting coup was Donald Pleasence's daughter, Angela Pleasence, plays the Ghost of Christmas Past. And she has one of those eerie fucking faces. She's pretty and scary looking at the same time.
Yeah.
She has smiling eyes that look almost alien in her. And she's gorgeous and eerie looking. She was so perfect as the Ghost of Christmas Past.
Perfect as a ghost, period.
You have Nigel Davenport. For those of you that don't know, he was the original voice of Emperor Palpatine in the original Empire Strikes Back before George Lucas changed it. You got Mark Strickson, a great young actor. He plays young Ebenezer Scrooge. And Timothy Bateson is another great actor. He plays one of my favorite character names in fiction, Mr. Fezziwig. What a great fucking name.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Fezziwig. That was Scrooge's boss.
Yes.
That showed him a great Christmases. And then, of course, you got Michael Gough as Mr. Poole, one of the charity seekers at the beginning and end of the story. Which you do see him again in the middle of the story in the book. I'm not sure if they do show it. They do show it in this version. And that's the other reason I like this movie so much is it was the first one at the time, 1984, to have shown major incidents within the book that were not depicted in previous iterations. In fact, my other favorite version of this story, official, not Scrooge, it doesn't count. It is actually not the Dickens story. The one based off of Dickens that I love the most was with Albert Finney.
The musical.
Scrooge. The musical. I love that fucking movie. I love it. I love it. I love it. I loved how he used no makeup to make him look old And
Which
then
was
to
the
be
one that we watched, Gary?
we watched this one. You and I did.
No, yeah. Well, for this show, no, the before, where the ghost freaked me out who hit him with a toaster constantly. Which one was that?
That's again. I just said that one doesn't count because
Okay.
that's not Dickens' tale. It's a story about another character affected by A Christmas Carol. So it is what it is. But I love that movie. You didn't like that Carol Kane, the way she talked and kept hitting him with things, which I thought was hilarious.
was
'cause coming from
fucking
somebody who
brutal
likes
and
to hit me,
violent.
you hit
You're
me
talking-
all the time.
You're
And you're a
talking
good
Bill
guy.
Murray. You're talking about the Bill Murray version.
Yes, and
Yes.
it's not. I don't consider it part of the Dickens
No,
story
it's not.
because
It's
it's a separate
inspired
story.
by.
Yes,
Yeah.
inspired by, and
Yes.
it's within the story. It's a story within a story. They're making a TV movie. So,
Yeah.
I
but
had
anyway,
fun watching
this
that,
is
but-
an actual movie, and for once again, for a film that was made specifically for television, it actually had, as I recall, I'm trying to recall what the budget was. Seems like it was like $3 or $4 million at the time. I'm trying to find it. Richard, if you can find it before I do, that'd be great. I swear to God, I love Brave, but they just do not have good information.
The search engine sucks.
No, I want to know this one. Starring George C. Scott music. And the soundtrack to this film is also another thing that blew me away. It doesn't have it there. I wonder if this information is even available. It's not showing it. And by the way, this is called a fantasy drama. And I do not consider this a fantasy film by any
It's
means.
not.
This is it's a Christmas story. And Christmas is real. You know, it's not a fantasy. It's weird when people do that.
Christmas
But anyway.
miracles are a thing, so.
Yes, in fact, speaking of that, we had a Christmas miracle, thanks to my friend Matt McGoin, I'm sorry. Star Trek Discovery officially erased from canon.
Fuck, yes.
Merry Christmas,
I was
everybody.
very happy to read that.
And that is an article by Matt McGoin and over on his Cosmic Book News. And good dude. I like him. And it's funny because it finally the lie got revealed that they've been lying about the numbers and that basically nobody watches any of this Star Trek. Nobody.
Nobody who cares
It's
about
like
Star Trek would
when
watch
you
that.
can't get a viewership on a major network or streaming service and you're getting it in the few thousandths, it doesn't matter. It's nobody's watching it.
Yeah.
So
I can't find it either, Gary.
yeah, I don't know what the budget is on this film. I think for some reason it was between 2 and 3 million when I read it. And every bit of that went into the movie. Scott took a cut rate to play this part because it was a passion project for him. And although what's really interesting is this is one of the few films he did in the 70s and 80s that didn't have his wife, Trish Vanderveer, in it. There's Michael Guff, probably the third best Alfred in the history of Batman. And I was going to point out like some things. Let me find it real quick. There he is, Frank Finlay. Frank Finlay was just a great freaking actor. He was in Life Force, The Pianist, The Four Musketeers. He played Porthos. That's where you got to see him the first time. And I pointed him out to you, Anima, when we watched the 70s Three Musketeer films.
Oh, yeah.
He was great in that as Porthos. He recurred the role, the Four Musketeers, the Three Musketeers, and then eventually he returned to the role in the 80s or early 90s. It was basically the Man in the Iron Mask. Let me see if I can find it real quick. If you've never seen it, it is not the best of the franchise, but it's still damn good. But it's so heartbreaking.
Oh,
Yeah, it was The
my.
Return of the Musketeers, which was basically the story of the Man in the Iron Mask.
I
And
just,
what's
Gary,
Yeah.
you've got it in your background, and I just saw it, and it never occurred to me, because I love the Three Musketeers and the Four Musketeers from the 70s. I own them. That is Porthos. But it's the same. Oh, my goodness.
that's him. Hey, Zax,
Ah!
Merry Christmas, brother. Love you, man.
Merry Christmas, Zax.
So
37 months. Holy shit.
that is a
Thank you.
film that killed comedic actor Roy Kinnear. Rory Kinnear's father. You know him from the James Bond films. He also played the Frankenstein monster in Penny Dreadful series. And Rory's a great actor, just like his dad. But Roy Kinnear was just such a sweetheart, great with his comic chops. Died after he fell off a horse and got hospitalized and got a secondary nosocomial infection
Oh,
and
shit.
died.
Oh, my goodness.
I also
Even,
like the way they did the door knocker in this.
The lion?
Yeah, the lion, and it becomes Marley's face. I
Yep.
love the way they did that. I also love the creepiness before it happens, that a coach goes by, but it's a hearse.
Yeah.
A what?
It's a hearse.
What's that?
That means it's
It's
used
a
for
vehicle
funerals.
for carrying a coffin
Oh,
to a
yeah.
funeral.
Bring out your dead.
Sorry, I forgot that word.
I'm not
We just
Bring
came
out
across
your
it
dead.
on. We came across that word on the episode of Bob's Burgers. I forgot it already. I'm sorry.
That's okay. This is a great setup. And again, a lot of flocking. White sand is used in this.
Well, yeah.
There were exteriors that were shot. And in fact, I sent you guys the video to show you some of the locations they used for the film. Beautiful locations. By the way, Zax has been a member for 37 months. Thank you, Zax. You're such a great supporter and a good friend of this channel. We love you, man. Merry Christmas.
I wish we could have him on, but he can't stream that early in the day. And it's
Also, he's, that's when he waxes his taint.
he's too cool for us.
Yeah.
Cool.
That
What is
I-
this? Oh,
I better save us from ourselves.
Shut the fuck up, Kyle!
There you
too
go.
late.
And as a reminder that practice makes perfect, man. And so always be out there practicing.
What's the matter? You scared? Noticeably? I'll say. Now stand back. I gotta practice my stabbing. Ha ha! No, please help!
That makes me giggle so much. And I do stand by this. This also.
That is why I won't do 2 shows a night anymore, babe. I won't.
I don't like doing 2 shows a day. Animal will tell
Yes, you do it almost every Monday.
Every Monday I get so worn out, and it's rough. Now, this is another thing that's brought up, and that scholars do believe that this is a good description of his house. He has a really nice place, but it's sparsely furnished. It's dust covered. He won't pay for servants, and he won't use gas lamps. Everything is candle lit.
Yeah, he has candles, and he has the fireplace, the very small fireplace where he just has a few glowing embers, not a real fire.
Yeah, no real heat coming off of it.
It's a
And he's
cold-
not eating real food. He's eating a potato at one point and eating gruel, which if
He
you
has
don't know what
soup,
gruel
too.
gruel is if you made cream of wheat and put it in a cloth napkin and squeezed out all the liquid from it, that's gruel.
Oh, I thought it was a very thick soup that he was eating in that one scene. But yeah,
No,
it's a funny thing when his the what's his name again? The guy who works for him.
Bob
Cratchit.
He wants
Cratchit.
to
Bob Cratchit.
Yeah, Cratchit. He wants to make a fire before he leaves him for Christmas Eve. And Scrooge tells him, you know what this is, what I'm wearing? And he names all his clothing. And then Scrooge tells him, yeah, that has been invented to keep humans warm. So leave the fire, just go.
Yeah, he actually describes, and what is this? That's your waistcoat. And what is this? It's your coat. He goes, and what is this? It's a scarf. These are the things that we use to warm ourselves.
Yes.
He is, though, even before he meets the ghosts, he's kind of nice because he gives him Christmas Day off.
He's not happy about it, though. You know,
No,
he refers to it as picking his pocket.
Yeah.
For a full day's wages, I'll be bound.
Yes.
Getting a lot of Merry Christmases over on Loki's chat group.
I imagine that although it's hard to see in this movie, but it would be entirely with, in keeping with Scrooge's character to have had most of the windows in his house bricked up because the British government imposed a window tax
Yes.
in the 19th
that's right.
century. And for Scrooge, that would have been intolerable, which is part of the reason I suspect that his room is so dark and the only light comes from his coal fire in the fireplace. There's no light.
Oh, and by the way,
coming
the
from outside.
effects with Jacob Marley here, really well done.
Yep.
And you can tell, if you look at him right now, that's Porthos.
Yes, it is.
I'm wishing everybody a Merry Christmas over in the Loki channel by posting, it's not Christmas until Hans Gruber falls off the Nakatomi Tower. And
did you see the photo that Mephisto posted? He's just been there recently.
Okay, there we go. I'm going to do I posted the other one, that great image of Jeffrey Dahmer dead with the sweater and the writing on it. Says, now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho.
Nice.
Why do you doubt your senses? Well, they can be affected by so many things. A slight disorder of the stomach, an underdone potato. There's more to gravy than grave of you. That's when Jacob gets up angry and starts shaking. The humor within this is really fucking awesome. And you see that it's used in a defensive nature with Scrooge, that he's afraid. And so he jokes to cover his fear.
That's not unusual.
No, that's exactly what you're doing. Yeah, Zoe too.
It's what I do all the time. Zoe does it too. Absolutely. All my kids use it, not as a defense mechanism, but as a response to stressors. And it's better to laugh than to freak out.
Yes.
I love the mural above his fireplace too. And of course, this is the great line that he points out, that the chains that you see, I forged in life.
My whole life, yeah.
Yeah, and he says, and you've had an extra 7 years to forge your chains. He goes, I do not see them. You won't see them until you're dead.
And he gives away that he's going to die in 7 years by saying that.
And also, it's kind of funny how Marley misinforms Scrooge that each night he will be visited by a ghost. It's Christmas Eve.
Right.
No, he doesn't say that. No,
he does in the book. He tells him that you will have 3 ghosts, and it really confused me as a kid. But then I realized what he's saying. It's all in the way he phrases it. And Scrooge is even confused by it. And that's why he says the line later, they did it all in one night. That's why he says that.
In this movie, he tells him the exact precise time the first ghost appears, when it's 1 o'clock. And then the second ghost at 2 o'clock. And the third one will come at its own time. I like that.
And
was
also,
like
I love
going-
that they kept the jaw wrap.
Oh,
I
Yes.
love
yeah.
that that's on him.
That's very cool.
And they put lenses over his eyes because he's got darker eyes than that, and it makes him look so dead. No way
And
they
this
lit
is
him.
the 80s, so these lenses were uncomfortable as fuck.
Yeah, they didn't use Bausch and Lomb. Special effects people made them.
They still are.
I think they're dangerous. They're known to scar people's eyes.
Yes.
I think by now they are pretty good at doing them, so you probably won't even realize they're in there.
Well, they use pharmaceutical grade
Yeah.
lenses now.
I've been wearing contact lenses ever since I was like 13 or 14. So I realized how better they became.
Yeah.
You really don't
I
feel
couldn't-
unless you get a cat hair on it. That fucking hurts. But
Yeah.
I couldn't wear contact lenses, and I wouldn't
I
want
can't either.
something on my eyes.
They bug my eyes.
I freaked out the what are they called? The people who make glasses and give you the lenses and shit. Because he put in the first one and then he asked me, do you feel confident enough to try and put in the second one? And I was like, yeah, sure. And he put it on my finger and I just plugged it into my eye like it was nothing. And he's never seen a kid do that without being nervous. I just wasn't. I wanted to get rid of my glasses. They gave me a headache.
And by the way, Michael Beacon, many people's favorite version of the story. I hear people go, well, I prefer the 1950, and it's like, look, man, the best version of this is this one. The only one that comes close to it is the musical Scrooge with Albert Finney.
Yeah, we're just going to agree to disagree on that, Gary.
Oh, that's okay. Look, I'm good with you being wrong. I'm late to the chat, so if you already mentioned this, apologies, but I love that Charles Dickens was a founding member of the Ghost Club at Cambridge. That's right. A real paranormal investigator. Yeah, they didn't get you. We didn't see it because, like, in the mid 1800s, you got what's called the Faraday cage, and but they didn't get really serious until the late 1800s, and that was when you saw the formation of paranormal research. And at the head of that was an actual medical doctor named Carl Jung. He is called the father of parapsychology for that reason. He legitimized the research.
You are such a Carl Jung fanboy.
I'm a Jungian. I wouldn't call it fanboy. He's like a major psychiatrist and psychologist. His research, Freud even used this research. His dream analysis was based on Carl Jung's research of dream analysis. And his research, Jung's, is so much better because it deals with archetypes and how our subconscious is trying to communicate with our conscious self.
It's
and
also
that
so
it's-
much broader research. Freud always goes penis with everything.
Yeah, well, everything ends at puberty with him. This is a criticism by many other scholars in psychiatry and psychology have pointed out that the flaw in Freud's theories is that it ends at puberty.
Yeah, he's my first wife had a degree in psychology and informed me once that nobody reads Freud seriously anymore. There are more informative texts in psychology that are taught in colleges. So yes, I agree with you. He got he got fixated, which is a term that he would have used.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was basically diagnosing himself with all of his theories.
With all respect, I haven't yet met somebody who was a psychologist or psychiatrist that didn't need one.
It's a requirement to do that job, to do therapy yourself.
Well, I
can't think of his name right now, but one of the psychiatrists that I did a lot of reading on was Nancy Andreessen. She was brilliant. But there's another psychiatrist, I can't think of his name right now, that when I when I was taking psychology in college, I was fascinated with his research. And he was one of them that really worked on childhood development and the impacts of childhood on our adult minds. And I can't think of his name right now. I don't know why it's escaping me, but it was great stuff. And many of them tended to, in starting in the 70s, going into the 80s, began to focus more on that gentleman's writing and kind of left Freud in the dust. Because Freud, again, all of his psychosexual theories end at puberty. So what the fuck good does it do you as an adult? It doesn't do you any good. I've stopped it here because I wanted to point out that is Angela Pleasence right there. And she's pretty and so creepy looking.
Yep.
He goes, long past? She goes, no, your past. And of course, what he does in the story is he extinguishes her using that cone.
Yes.
When he gets angry.
He does in one of the versions.
Right here. That is actually not something he said out loud. That line he says that, I couldn't think of anything better than a good night's sleep in response to this. And she actually reads his thoughts and responds to his thoughts in the book. It's not a very long book. You can pretty much read it in under 3 hours. I think it's 150 pages, some shit like that. It was one of his many longer-ish short stories. In fact,
yeah, these days it would be a novel, I think.
I am going to turn your volume down just a little bit, Anima, because it's dominating. I know you want to dominate me, but come on, honey.
Jesus Christ.
Rim shot maestro, please.
So this is really beautiful here.
The irony when you talk about the book is that it was one of his least successful literary
at the time.
works.
But it became popular as time went on, and he would do what Patrick Stewart would do later, back in the 80s and 90s, go do a one-man show, and he would sit down and do the entire reading of his story of the Christmas Carol. He would read it live, and it was a huge hit. That's how it became famous. This book may very well have just disappeared into obscurity of the past, if not for those live shows that he did. And he did them all the way up to his death. I love the ice on the fucking tree limbs there. This is a real location. That's real ice and snow. Gorgeous. And this is where we meet the young actor playing the younger version of him, the young man, which is Mark Strickson. And I do believe he's still alive, isn't he? Yes, he is still alive. He was on Doctor Who. He played Turlough, 32 episodes. He was with the fourth and fifth Doctor. Oh wait, no, that's the child version. Then we see the teen version. He had friends. All I see him doing is reading. Books can be friends. That's a great line. Books can be friends. There he is. That's Stockson. And they gave him a fake nose to make him look more like George C. Scott. And by the way, do you know who that is on the left there? Anybody? Take a bet that nobody gets this? You can all guess in the audience, but do not Google it. I pointed it out to Anima when we were watching it the other day, who that was. You remember Anima? It's Val Kilmer's future ex-wife.
Interesting.
That's Joanna Whalley. Anybody guess?
Nope.
No. You lazy bastards. Merry Christmas. I actually considered doing that. I went into nursing care, but while I was in the middle of nursing on someone's boob, no, while I was taking nursing school, there he is. I'll pause for just a second there. That's Nigel Davenport, the man who was the voice of the Emperor in the original Empire Strikes Back before Lucas changed it. And George C. Scott, by the way, is a ginger in real life. He was. And this is a rough moment because he makes the point, I think one day is enough for the two of us. And again, why does this happen? It's the exact echo of what Scrooge is doing to his own nephew. That he's a living reminder of the death of someone he cared for, which is, of course, his own mother.
Looks like Owen Wilson.
There's Davenport. Great fucking English actor right there.
Merry Christmas, Chief.
Hey, happy Christmas to you too, my friend. I got to put a call in before the end of the day to Don and Vicky. Wish them a happy Christmas. I wonder what retired police officers eat for Christmas. Do retired policemen believe in Jesus?
They better.
I waste my fucking jokes on this panel.
Sorry. That was a joke.
Sorry. I just don't find you funny, motherfucker. And by the way, didn't I need to look this up real quick because it seems to me that what was that Remo Williams? Remember that movie?
Yep.
Remo Williams, The Adventure Begins. Yes.
It seems to me that Joel Grey, who plays Chun,
Yes.
his Korean mentor, once again, yellow facing. Didn't Joel Grey also once play the Christmas?
Yellow facing.
Didn't he play the Christmas Past ghost once?
Yes, he
I'm
did.
looking it up right now. I'm trying to remember what that was in.
I believe
Looking
it
it up.
was in the Patrick Stewart version.
Is it?
Yeah.
So it would have been in the 2000s. Now,
Yeah.
I did not like that version of it. For me, Patrick Stewart just didn't look the part for me. He sounds the part. He doesn't look the part. And
Now,
I love.
Okay, you've opened that door, Gary. I'm going to walk through it.
All right.
You mentioned.
Is it a back door?
Scrooge? No, I'm not walking through Gary's back door. That doesn't happen even on Talk to Tuesday.
Good.
No.
So you think?
No.
Stay safe,
Anyway.
Richard.
No. You mentioned it. You talked about it. Scrooge doesn't spend money even on himself. He's eating gruel or he's eating a thin soup.
Yeah, he's a miser, a covetous.
Yes.
I love.
Well, then
covetous
how does
old sinner.
Wait a minute. Freeze that. How does it become that goddamn big?
Yeah, right.
That's
Oh,
my
George C.
point.
Scott.
He's
He's
got a
tall.
No, I
point.
mean, but well,
He's
George
not
C.
fat,
Scott
he's tall.
can't. Yeah, he
Dude,
couldn't get
he's
below.
He's
So when
round.
you
He has
say-
a prominent abdomen.
When
Yeah,
you
I
say he
guess.
doesn't look like Scrooge, I'm thinking everything I've seen about 19th century London, and even rich people weren't fat or large, most of them. And that's one of the things I have about George C. Scott playing Scrooge is he's too he's too well fed looking to be Ebenezer Scrooge eating crap for dinner once a day. But that's the difference between us. That's why we agree to disagree.
Oh, you're telling me I agreed? Okay.
No. We agree to disagree.
Yeah, because I totally do disagree with you.
Oh,
But-
I know you do.
but-
That's fine.
I'm going to tell you on my hard drive every Christmas, I will listen to it today. In fact, Anne will probably listen to it before she goes to bed. Is Patrick Stewart's one-man show of
Not if you keep
Christmas
pausing
Carol.
the slideshow, because then we'll go past midnight and I'm exhausted.
He told
and
me
I
to
really
pause
want
it.
us to go.
You told me
I'm
to
just-
pause it, so I did.
I
Red
told you to
shirt.
pause it. Now you can keep going.
Yes. Yeah. You mad at me? He told me to pause.
I'm not mad. I
Sorry,
just want to
Anima.
point out
Now
that-
you don't recognize her, but she has a connection to Val Kilmer as well. She played Hillary in Top Secret.
Did
And Michael
she?
Guff was in that. Michael Guff played her uncle or grandfather, her father, her dad. Michael Guff
Who
was in this
now?
too. So you got two people in this movie that were in Top Secret and another person that married Val Kilmer. So there's three people connected to Val Kilmer. Oh, wait, that's right. George C. Scott did Murders in the Rue Morgue with Val Kilmer. That's four people. And
Are we-
Fezziwig
are we-
threw the
are
best
we
Christmas
create-
parties.
Are we creating 6 degrees from Val Kilmer here?
Somehow,
I'm 1 degree away from him because the assistant or the second director for Alexander was my boss, Del Dye. He directed Val. And Fezziwig, first of all, he picks his names so wonderfully. Dickens does. His names have meaning. Scrooge, Ebenezer just sounds like a covetous old man, and then you've got Fezziwig, just sounds like somebody who's just happy all the time.
And by the way, I did find this out looking into this earlier today. Scrooge is based on an old English word meaning to squeeze.
Not
That's
surprised.
what it sounds like. I just realized I forgot to dress for the occasion. Let me fix this. There you go.
Another
Now
rip
it's
off
movie.
of the Christmas Carol story.
I didn't even like the movie, but I needed a Christmassy avatar, and this is all I could do.
This is where it begins for him, where you start hearing things from him as a character that he needs to plan for the future, that I can't marry her until I've acquired a small fortune.
And this is what ruins that relationship, that he cares about money more than about her, and so she lets him go.
Well, she even says the line, I've been replaced.
Yeah.
And he says, I almost ran for her. And, almost only counts in horseshoes and grenades. And grenades.
It broke her heart to let him go. But she did the right thing. She didn't have a place in his life anymore. Not really. Unless she was happy being second place, and that she wasn't, because she knew she deserved more.
There it is. What idol has displaced you? A golden one. I love that line. She is she has no dowry. And because of that, he's afraid to marry her without having made money. And it's tragic.
She would be content living on a budget as long as it was living with him.
Oh, you love Chuck Jones. I'm like, going, who the fuck is Chuck Jones? Chuck. Red Shirt wrote in the private chat he loved Chuck Jones's Grinch. And it's a great cartoon. I prefer it over the Jim Carrey movie.
That's the only version that I know, and I watched like half of it, and then I was like, fuck off. Not wasting time on this.
I don't like Dr. Seuss, so
A distant
I'm
relative.
not a
of
Jim
mine.
Carrey fan. I think he's over the top. He's not funny.
By that time, I think you're right. He was over the top.
Some people like that.
I don't.
I'm not a big fan.
Yeah.
You know, I will say that he is the only human being on this planet to make me laugh so hard. I thought I was going to die.
Jim Carrey?
Yeah. True story.
No, one of your friends did
watched-
that too.
No, Mac made me laugh and I blacked out. I laughed so
Yeah.
hard I blacked out. But I actually thought I was going to have a stroke or something from Jim Carrey. When I watched him, it was a terrible movie. I hate the movie. It's Ace Ventura, Pet Detective 2, Nature Calls, When Nature Calls, and
That
the
sounds
rhinoceros
stupid.
scene. The rhino scene, when he tries to go out the back end of that fucking rhino, I couldn't breathe. I was laughing so hard I couldn't breathe. I fell off the sofa, and I had to look away from the TV and like just stop, get it out of your head, fucking breathe. My veins were all distended in my neck. I had never laughed so hard. And then it happened again when he did Me, Myself, and Irene, and he starts to pee in the bathroom, and it starts going everywhere, and only guys understand that joke. And I
still don't
laughed
know
so
if I've
fucking
seen that
hard.
one.
I laughed so fucking hard, I blacked out again with distended veins in my neck. And oh my God. Jim Carrey's just one of the funniest motherfuckers on the planet when he's on. But the problem with him is he's crazy too. He's mental illness. And I have trouble laughing at him because of that.
Sad.
So now he gets to see them. This is the family he could have had. And then her husband comes home and says, I saw one of your old friends today. Guess who? She said, oh, I don't know. Well, Ebenezer Scrooge. He goes, yes, it was Ebenezer Scrooge. And he's sitting alone in his office. His partner has just died. So this is clearly like, it's still in the past, 7 years ago. And he gets angry that they pity him. And this is when he snuffs her out. He picks up her coned hat and puts it on her head and takes it all the way down to put out her flame.
And then he's in his bedroom squeezing the carpet, and that's why he tries to make himself believe that it was just a bad dream. But then the second spirit appears. But he has already seen enough to get him thinking.
He's not been changed, but he has seen a lot to remind him
Yes.
things.
To remind him how he used to be. And that he lost that on the way. And why he lost it.
Martin?
Yep.
I have a video. I don't think we'll get claimed on it because this movie is available free on YouTube, but I do want to show this clip from this exact minute mark. So if you open that up, and I'm sharing it with the audience there. Let me delete that.
Oh, I was looking for it on the private chat.
Yeah, that's where I meant to send it, and it went public. So I deleted it. There we go.
Boomer.
That clip right there, starting at that minute mark. This is the alternate ending to this film. We'll show it at the end of the film strip, the slideshow.
Okay.
Oh, and there he is, Edward Woodward, the original Robert McCall, the Equalizer. And this is one of my favorite parts of the film. And he learned to walk around on those stilts.
So the whole thing is in this version is that Cratchit's wife sent the Equalizer to straight up Scrooge so she can have her husband.
And again, this is done on a location. This isn't a set. Oh my God, the close up of the fish, Jesus.
Are you getting hungry?
Now, this makes me think of that song. Fish heads, roly poly fish heads. Yes,
That's a
fish
song.
heads. Eat 'em up, yum. Yes.
I learned the
Do you know
weirdest
who
shit
wrote
from
it?
Gary. We were driving home from running an errand, and all of a sudden there was this smell, and it was disgusting. And when we were driving back, Gary saw that it was a dead skunk on the side of the road, and that's actually a song about that. He made me
Yep.
unlock his phone, go to YouTube, and pull up that song. And Lauren even couldn't believe it when we got home and told her. So we played that song
Dead
for her.
skunk in the middle of
It's
the road.
so silly.
Dead skunk in the
But
middle of
that
the
is a
road.
smell that I want to forget and never smell again. That was disgusting. They cleaned it up though, because we drove that road a couple days later and the smell was gone, thankfully.
Do that. I love that song.
The shit people write songs about. Unbelievable.
Oh, wait till you hear this. Hear the streak.
The what?
The streak.
Okay.
So the song came out in 1978, Fish Heads. It was a novelty song or a comedy rock song by Barnes and Barnes. It appeared on MTV in right around 1980, but it first got its attention from Rhino Records and Dr. Demento. But here's the funny thing: it has a music video, and the music video was directed by, and he appears in the video, a young Bill Paxton. There's some fucking trivia for you right there. And for some reason, someone told me that Barnes and Barnes was included Billy Mummy. Yeah, it is. Billy Mummy, who best known for playing Will Robinson, co-wrote that song and performed it in his band. Now we meet the Cratchits. Now, if you don't recognize her, that's Sarah York. He played the part of Superman's mother on Krypton in 1978. Kara L.
That family is kind of over the top though, because they're so thankful for everything and they drink to Scrooge's health. And what has he really done for them?
They don't want to drink to his health. They only do that because Daddy requested it.
Yeah, but why would he do that? All he got was a day off, and I think
they're
he's
showing
paying
that they're
for it
good
by coming
Christian
in
people.
early the next day. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's just...
Come on. No. You're going afoul. You're going afoul. There are people like that. That is believable and realistic. I've known people like that.
Yeah, but it's like, we have to do this because we're good Christians. Fuck that. I don't like it.
What? It's part of what you believe in.
No.
No, I'm not saying you
a better person.
Doing shit to be a good Christian is weird. Doing things because you want to be a good person.
It's the same fucking thing.
No,
Anna, you're twisting it into meaning something else, and it doesn't.
No, it's not.
No,
yes, it does.
I get what she's saying. For example, remember in...
well, you're talking about the phony aspects, which is part of his criticism. But I do believe that Cratchit feels that way.
Yes.
And Tiny Tim does too. The rest of his family doesn't. They just follow their father. They trust their dad. And because you ask it, I'll make it so. And that is just that's not bad. It's silly to think that that's bad. Because Cratchit is a good man, Bob Cratchit. And he could have gone to work for other people. That's something in the book too.
He's loyal. He
has loyalty. And Edward Woodward is so good in his part. And you know, one of the funniest things, I remember watching this going, I told my dad we're watching it together, and I'm like, I didn't really expect to see a lot of like Edward Woodward's chest hair. That's just really weird.
He has a lot of chest hair.
That is way too much chest hair.
Well, I saw him for the first time on The Equalizer, so any other role, him being younger, to me is always shocking. Man, the guy was young once, yes.
Yeah, he's in one of that early film that Nicolas Cage remade that was terrible. The Wicker Man. What a fucking movie.
How was that movie? And the Australians. How was the name? Breaker Moran. Yes.
Yep. He plays Breaker Morant. He's the main character. I Anima watched that movie. It breaks my heart every time I watch that movie, knowing what was done. Yeah, when they got executed for following their orders. It's during the Boer War, and they shot their prisoners because the British couldn't afford to hold prisoners.
Oh, fuck, yeah. Yeah.
And then after that order gets handed down, they make it out that they followed an unethical, illegal order. And they did. They shouldn't have shot him. Yeah, here's where his humanity comes out. And this, by the way, I want to bring up. I wrote a note earlier that scholars, having done their due diligent research, believe fully that Tiny Tim character was inspired by Dickens' own nephew, Henry Burnett Jr., who had the same problem. There's no written proof, but it only makes sense.
Do we know what his problem was? Or do we just know it's fixable?
Rickets. If I recall, it was rickets.
Okay.
I'll look it up real quick. And I believe that's really what caused Tiny Tim's problem too. There was a real problem in the early 1800s caused by the affect of having rickets. Henry Burnett Jr. disability information. There's no information available about disability. Yeah, it doesn't say anything. He was born in 1735 and died in 1812.
Who?
The real.
Oh, the real Tiny Tim.
Mm-hmm. I do like that when they do give him a cheer, he goes, he appreciates Cratchit doing that. Here it is. Look at him grab the breast of his coat. I'm so proud. Look at him.
He thinks he deserves it.
The founder of this feast.
Person. Yeah.
I'd like to have him here. I'll give him a piece of my mind. Susanna York. Look at that stern. And we need to be better people than that. For your sake. There you go. So they all give Ebenezer Scrooge a cheer. And what has he really done?
You're one of us, Hallowfield. This is our favorite version.
And it's hard to believe this is a made-for-TV movie. It's so well done.
It should have been in theaters, yeah. It deserved to be in theaters. It's so good.
Another film that Frank Finlay was in is The Wild Geese.
And we did that one.
He plays the priest, the Catholic
Military
priest.
Monday, I think.
Mm-hmm. Now, like I said, he walked around on these stilts to make him taller.
It's not that difficult, actually.
He does
I did
fine.
that.
I love that he eventually says, "What is that under your coat?" And he opens the coat to show two starving waifs,
Oh God, yeah.
sickly starving waifs.
And he just wants
Want
to close the
it was
code.
want and need, as I recall, right?
No.
Want and
Uh,
ignorance.
ignorance and want.
Yeah. And he can't bear to see them.
Now, Fred, by the way, is played by an actor best known playing not Robin Masters. What was the character he played on Cheers? He
Uh,
I
was
don't
the,
know.
it
Didn't
was
watch
Robin
Cheers.
something.
you should, Matinee. It's a fun show.
Yeah. I'm not saying it is. It isn't. But man, I have so much things to watch
Oh,
that I have to go
yeah.
with
I know.
what calls me first.
I know. I have so many unfinished shows that I want to go back to, but there's just no time. Not at this time of the year.
Robin Colcord was the character he played. Multiple episodes in the final 2 seasons of Cheers. So that's what he's best. This guy right here, Robin Colcord in Cheers. He's the rich guy that what's her name that played Savick in Star Trek, first one.
Kirstie
She
Alley.
falls in love with him. Kirstie Alley falls in love with him. Yes, Roger Reese. He plays Fred, the nephew of Scrooge. And they play the game of similes, which is a fun game.
I've never heard of that game.
Have any of you guys ever played it?
No, I've never heard of it either.
It seems
what
fun.
it is it's like you finish a famous phrase, tight as a drum is the one they use in this one.
But they say tight as Scrooge's purse or something. And then offensive.
Yeah. Yes.
See if I'm going to go see if I can find it. Here it is, matching similes games. So most common type of simile game is as. For example, he's as strong as, and then you've got to think of the missing word, ox. Yeah. Because what they show in the story is how it's about gathering together and having a fun night and just chilling, because you have this 364 days a year of drudgery and work and dealing with things, that there's this one night where you can just sit down and put it all out of your mind and just enjoy each other's company.
And everyone can. And that's the important thing for that Scrooge learns.
Yeah, it's like, how can they be enjoying themselves? They're poor. They're destitute.
Right.
Which they do show more of one scene than what has been shown before, where he goes and sees a family starving, where the father can't find work, and that the father actually is considering self-deleting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's an actor, you've been dropping names. That's an actor who was one of the droogs from A Clockwork Orange.
Yeah. Which one did he play?
He was the one in I think the top hat. The one who wanted to take over.
Right.
Yes. There he is.
What's his name?
Oh, give me a sec.
He's talking about that guy right there.
That was more than a second, Richard.
That was a
no. He's frozen in time. So It's
okay.
irrelevant.
That's what the problem. Okay.
Hey, wait.
Hi, Wade. Also, hi, Slasher Fred.
Oh, they're not making this easy on IMDb, damn it.
Oh,
IMDb is
IMDb
getting
is
worse.
yeah.
Yeah, it is.
They suck now.
Give me a minute.
Wikipedia is
Give
doing
me
a better
another
job
minute or two.
sometimes.
I'm looking. I got to look at all cast and crew, so I'm going to have to scroll through this.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Oh.
Sucks.
Man.
There they are, beneath my robe.
Yes.
And of course, his question is, do you work for Disney or something?
What?
It's a sick joke.
All
Why
your
do you have
jokes are
children
sick,
there?
Larry.
Do you work for Disney? Brian Pettifer is his name. I found him.
Wow. I haven't seen him yet.
I'm really fast at doing research. And I'm going back to 1970 to 72, I think is when that was made, wasn't it?
It came out in 71.
Yeah, because he's also an Oh Lucky Man with Malcolm McDowell, too. Looking for it, and I'm not finding it. You sure that was him?
Just sworn. Hang on. What'd you say his name was?
It is Pettifer. I forgot the first name. Let's see. It is Brian Pettifer. He's worked with Robert Carlyle, too, who is one of my favorite Scottish actors.
Oh, I love the guy.
He did that Full Frontal movie where they're going to do the strip for money to save the town.
The Full
I
Monty?
love that movie. The Full Monty. I fucking love that movie. And he's left him there. He left him out in the middle of nowhere. What a shitty host. I mean, ghost host. And then basically he's death. That is the ghost of Christmas yet to come. Or some people call him the ghost of Christmas future, but it is the ghost of yet to come, meaning that nothing is fixed. Because that's the thing that he has to understand, that he comes to grips with the idea that my actions can change this.
Yeah, but the ghost of Christmas yet to come is showing him, if you don't change, this is the Christmas yet to come.
But I'm just telling you that Dickens decided to use the angel of death as the ghost of Christmas yet to come.
And he's creepy because all you see is an outline. You never see the ghost. You see the shadowy figure.
It leads to one of the funniest moments in Scrooged with Bill Murray when he's in the elevator and the ghost of Christmas yet to come starts crowding him. He says, "Hey, back off, pal. That might work with the chicks."
Yeah. It was a fun movie. I hated the violent ghost smacking him with a toaster all the time.
It was comedy. You'll show me the shadows of things that might be. I love this conversation because he's not saying anything. He just gesticulates. That's all the ghost does is gesticulate. One of these days for your Thursday night horror, if you guys decide to a 2010s horror, you should review the movie Frozen from 2020, which is about, they get stuck on a ski lift. It's a foreign film. I've seen
Your
the foreign
horror-
film.
Your horror show is supposed to be about the 80s, and you already kind of caved in to do 90s movies because Nadia wants it.
Well, I may even go back to the 70s too, because there's some 70s horror that Hammer in particular did some amazing, the terror, Train of Terror, or Dr. Terror. That was it, Dr. Terror. God damn, it's one of my favorite anthological films. That
know,
plus
it's
the
supposed to be
original Tales from the
classical
Crypt.
horror movies and not new
The
ones.
original, the
20
original Tales from the Crypt that they did was really good. And I love anthological movies that have little short vignettes in it. But right now I want to focus mostly on 80s horror, but I will, because I love Nadia. We're going to do the occasional 90s horror film because there were some good horror films. One of my favorite being In the Mouth of Madness. What a great movie. But if we do something more modern, it could happen. I'm not going to say it's not going to happen, Slash for Fred. I'm just saying I want to get through all the other ones first.
Yeah.
But if it does pop up to where we all agree, because it's a 3-person team and we have to all agree on the film.
Oh, by the way, found it.
What is
James Marcus passed away this year. He played Georgie in
the
Clockwork
kid.
Orange.
Oh, wait. Okay, so it wasn't this guy. What was he in Scrooge? This movie, Christmas Carol.
1980. This was 84.
4.
Let me look. 80. Looking.
Yeah.
Cats, dead orders. Interesting.
This is where he sees them this lady selling his curtains.
Oh, yes. At the Rag and Bone Man, which was a very low level career in Victorian
Hey,
England.
what's below pawn shop?
Yeah. Mudlark. That's where you go down on the Thames at low tide and scavenge and dig in the mud to find stuff that people have dropped over the edge. That's lower.
Now, we had a micro ice age in the 1850s, I think, during the Victorian period. And Victorian period was from, 1835 until 1901. And basically, they had a micro ice age. And they showed it in an episode of Doctor Who with Angry Eyebrows, Doctor, where they had a mezzanine of shops on the ice.
Yes.
They were able to open up little carnival / markets on the fucking ice. And it really did happen. The ice was so thick that people could go out there with no fear of going through the ice. Yeah, this is where he gets angry. Those are my things. He's not quite grasping that he is the dead person they're talking about. And then when it hits him, it hits him hard. So when he finally gets to the graveyard, and he sees the covered tomb, and the ghost is pointing at it with his bony finger,
He refuses to believe that that person is him until he sees the name on the grave. That's when it hits him. That's really you. You're not him.
These are the shadow of things that might happen. Tell me, ghost, if I change my ways, will I change this future? And it just continues pointing at the grave. He won't respond to him. Because then it's sort of like, if I do this, God, will this get me into heaven? I can't tell you. You have to choose. Free choice. And that's a reminder of the free choice thing. You have to choose to want to do this.
he keeps pointing because all he does is showing him this is where you're headed. Of course you can change it. But right now, this is where you're going.
So
Nothing needs
before,
to be
I'm going to
weird.
pause it here, Martin, because this is a point where you can show that video, starting at that 2 minute and 8 second mark. This is the alternate ending for the movie, different than what is actually in the movie. And you guys can find this on your own on YouTube. Look at alternate ending, A Christmas Carol, 1984.
Tell me that I may sponge away the writing on this stone. Spare me. Spare me. Spare me. My own room. I'm alive. Something I ate.
I love that.
Denial.
He learned nothing.
It ain't just a river in Egypt.
Denial. And this is where he finds out that Tiny Tim is dead.
Because he couldn't get that operation that he needed. And I think that's what hit him hardest of all the things he saw. That he could have saved Tiny Tim.
And by the way, who was it brought it up? Michael Beacon. My favorite director for Hammer was what's his name? Terrence Fisher. He directed a majority of their films. Merry Christmas, Jed. So again, the whole family is like worrying about dear old dad, Bob Cratchit, and how hard he is taking Tiny Tim's death. Hello, Father. I don't know why this scene reminds me of Sylvester and his son. Oh, Father.
Okay.
Red Shirt knows what I'm talking about. Remember that cartoon? Where Sylvester's trying to teach his kid?
Yes. Oh.
He goes, oh, Father.
Yes. Yes.
And that's what this
Now
scene
look,
reminds me of, because they're all saying, but listen here, son. Yeah.
Yes.
Buffering Buckatash. I loved Sylvester. He's one of my favorite cartoon characters. And I love that he had a son. And when my son hit that age between 8 and 12, he called me father. And it annoyed the shit out of me. I'm like, I am not a fucking cat. Do not call me father. He's like, he couldn't understand what the hell I'm like, what do you mean you're not a cat? What does that got to do with anything? Because he didn't know I was talking about Sylvester and his son. Father. Yeah, Charles Dickens, you magnificent bastard. I read your book. Nobody gets that. It's Patton. It's George C. Scott played George S. Patton, and he was talking about Rommel. Rommel, you glorious bastard! I read your book,
Yeah,
and he knew how
remember
to
that.
fight him. He knew how to
Yep.
fight him. Forward assault tactics with armor.
Great
You
fucking
magnificent bastard! I read your book.
Exactly.
The most gravelly voiced actor in Hollywood played the most high-pitched cartoon character
Yeah, the
general
guy
in the
had a
U.S.
high-pitched
Army.
voice like this.
Oh
He
yeah,
had
he
a
talked like a cartoon character.
And he definitely had a foul mouth.
Oh,
Hey,
yeah.
Merry Christmas, Kingsport Cal.
Hey, Cal, Merry Christmas. Back to my eggnog. Okay.
Hey, eggnog is good. I like eggnog.
By what name are you known?
There are some who call me
Tim?
I tried a couple of times. I just...
And this is a special shout out, by the way, from Anima, Red Shirt, Martin, and myself to our dear friend who is still in hospital right now.
What happened?
He was having GI problems, and he went into the hospital, and while going into the hospital, he got a nosocomial infection, the flu.
Oh,
so it made everything worse. He's been in there for two weeks. I talked to him last night, technically this morning. So everybody send your positive thoughts to our dear friend Bush.
Christmas in the hospital sucks.
And he can't even watch this. He has terrible Wi-Fi in the hospital.
Aww.
I asked him to be in the chat today, and he says, I can't, man. We have terrible Wi-Fi here at the hospital. And I'm like, so I'm still going to send him my thoughts and prayers because I love Bush. Good dude.
We all do. Get well soon, Bush. We need you back.
Amen. I love this. He's pleading with him, say that I can change these things. He's talking to a ghost that will not speak back to him. He has to come to these things on his own, which is the whole thing. You know, in the story, you get it when you read Jacob Marley's Christmas Carol. It talks about how he could be pointed in the right direction, but that he had to be the one that chooses.
It's like the ghosts open the door for him, but he needs to be the one to walk through it.
Hey, Sander Hemmerschlag is here too. Merry Christmas.
Hey,
I want to go through, make sure. Bateman's Girl, Merry Christmas. I'm glad you're here. My buddy Wade is here. Merry Christmas, my friend. Michael Beacom, Patrick. Okay, we got everybody. Sander Hemmerschlag should be the name of a fucking Viking beer. Slammer. Slammer Sander Hammerschlag.
That needs to be really strong, though, to deserve that name.
Well, there's a Viking beer that I really like. It's not Viking, I'm sorry, Scottish beer. It's called Skull Splitter. Oh. I've drank it. It's fucking good. And it's got a lot of alcohol in it.
Did it give you a headache?
No.
Oh.
I was a professional drinker. I fucking know what I'm doing when I drink. So we're missing the dialogue here. I missed it. Boy, what day is this? Oh, it's Christmas, sir. My fine fellow. Hello. I love this. You know that shop? The one with the giant turkey in the window? The one as big as me? Big as me. What a wonderful child.
That kid is having the day of his life getting that tip for running an errand for him.
The word I'm looking for, I said earlier, is not renewal, it is reclamation. That was the word I was looking for earlier, reclamation. This is Scrooge's reclamation.
Or the other word you might use is redemption.
Yeah.
redemption. And that is a constant theme in Dickens' work.
Yes.
It's one of my favorite themes in storytelling is individual redemption. And he wants it sent anonymous. It comes from a friend. That's it. Nothing more. I love that. Poulterer. It's a butcher that specifically deals with poultry.
With birds.
I
yes.
didn't know that was a thing.
Apparently, it was a thing. Eventually, all butchers. Yes.
Maybe for hygienic reasons, because poultry comes with a whole lot of issues.
Absolutely, Penny. Do give your prayers to our dear friend Bush that he gets better and gets back here because we miss him when he's not around. We really do. This is really good.
Everybody.
The way they react to him. Yes, we know who you are. He is. I wish to donate, and he whispers in the ear, and they get all excited because this is comes from the Bible, something that's important. That my dad had frustration with me over this. That I believe that praying out loud was bad. I believe that all prayer should be done in private and in silence.
It's between you and God. No one else needs to hear it.
That's talked about in, I think it's the book of Matthew, where they talk about how those who pray out loud and thump their chests get their adoration there. It's those who go off by themselves and pray in private that God listens to. And I always like that sentiment. And so whenever my dad would try to make me pray out loud, I would remind him of that. I said, I don't pray out loud. He says, well, do you know your prayer? It's like he didn't believe that I was actually praying. It's like, what? I'm going to lie about praying? I love this bird. Let's pluck it and eat the shit out of it. Not literally. Figuratively. Merry Christmas, Andy. Merry Christmas, Mike.
Why are you not on the panel, Mike?
Yeah, Mike.
What the fuck, dude?
Yeah, dude. Jesus. This is his day.
Well, we're almost at the end, so fuck that. But
And this is another. Do you like to play games? She says, yes. If you happen to ever play similes, remember, tight as a drum. She missed
yeah,
that.
He didn't like that.
Tight as your uncle.
His purse. Yeah.
Yeah, tight as his purse.
Yes.
He did not like that.
Hey, Tree Rock, how you doing, buddy? I love the focus that you're going on to comics right now on Twitter. I love those posts. That was one of my favorite covers, the one of the X-Men. And there's a term that I don't like, a turn of phrase. You're more than welcome. It's sort of
It's
like the
weird.
word unique. It's like unique. You know, people go, "You're so unique. You're more than unique." It's like, no, unique is it is what it is. There's no gradient levels of it. It is unique, and it's the same with welcome.
It's the top. There's only one if it's unique.
There is no level above unique or below it.
We have that
It is-
shit in German too, and it gets more and more common, and it upsets me. Stop butchering your own language.
And learn to put your verbs in front of other words,
Oh.
like open.
As Mark Twain pointed out in an essay that he sent to a newspaper when he was traveling through Europe about German, he said, the Germans like to put the verb at the end of the sentence.
Yeah.
Which sometimes means that the newspaper has to go to print before they can actually put the word at the end. And then you're left wondering what happened.
That is not even true. We don't have
Yes,
the
it
verb
is.
at the end of the sentence all the time. No.
Oh, it's funny because I showed that essay.
Machen Sie die Fenster auf.
I
the verb
showed
is the
that
first word in that sentence. Fuck you.
Make.
That's the verb.
not
Yeah. That's the first word in the fucking sentence.
the
Yeah,
word.
well,
The verb we're looking for
I
that
have
goes
never-
first is open.
I have never met a
They
German
just
who
split
found that story funny. But
No,
their
I
children thought it
admit.
was hysterical.
I admit we have
I
a
love
fucked
Mark
up way
Twain.
of building our sentence. It's
Samuel Clemens is someone who I grew up and still idolize.
Absolutely.
I loved his wit. This scene, this is one that usually gets left out. I don't think it's in any other version, live action version of the films from before 84. That shows that morning when Cratchit shows up to work. And I love this scene. This is it. This is his redemption moment, his reclamation right here. Because this is his greatest sin, is that he has abused his employee.
Yes.
And he goes, and I, sir, will not take it. So from this moment forth, I'll give you a raise. And he makes him wait, terrified. He's like terrified.
Yeah.
He's going to fire him. Therefore, I am going to. And look at him. He's just like,
Because
what?
he's late. He was supposed to come in
Yep.
early, and he's a tiny bit late, so he's terrified of being fired.
And the look on it, like right there, he's so like, what is happening right now when he hugs him?
Yes.
David Warner nailed this role.
Yes, he did.
And Tim will walk
He nailed
again.
a lot of roles.
And don't you dot another I before you put some coal in that oven.
Yeah, because now fuck clothing. It is cold.
Mhm.
Yeah, right. He's like, did he have a stroke? Is there something? What's happened here? I love that. There's a real street there, and then they did a beautiful matte painting that shows the House of Lords building. I forget the name of it. It's on the Thames, the domed building. See it in the background there. God blesses everyone.
And that is
That's
that
Tiny
is the
Tim
one
saying
line
that, right?
that is the one line everybody remembers from this story.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the most popular line. God bless us, everyone. It's important. That is the message that Tiny Tim brings. Helen Place is here too. Greetings. I hope everybody has had a wonderful Christmas. St. Paul's Cathedral. That's what it is. Okay. Thank you.
Oh. Yes, the second largest basilica in the world.
Is it?
Is that true? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I
it's
didn't know
it's
that.
the only larger one is St. Paul's in Rome, in the main church of the Vatican. Yes,
That's
it's
St. Peter's.
enormous. It's a
The one in
domed.
Rome. That's
Yeah, the
St.
one in Rome. I
St.
mean, the
Peter's.
one in Rome is insanely large.
Oh, I've been there. It is.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
I went
I
to
love.
Catholic private school, and I think I was in 6th grade, so 16. We went the week before Easter, and I actually got picked to hold a palm leaf when the Pope went through. So the Pope went right past me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it is insanely big. And we went all the way up on to the top. And I'm a claustrophobic person. So that was a nightmare because that staircase is so narrow.
Mm-hmm.
But you get a great view from once you're up there, you see Vatican and everything. It's great. And the museum, all the paintings.
I did visit the largest Gothic cathedral in the world in Seville, Spain, and went up in the tower and took a picture of Seville. I don't have it anymore because I lost all of my photos. But
I got to tell you, there's a big one in Texas. When I was stationed at Fort Sam Houston, there is this cathedral downtown. It's the St. Peter's Cathedral, I think. No, St. Fernando. St. Fernando. And the Gothic. In the middle of this bustling city, there's this fucking gray Gothic Catholic cathedral. And I went there. I was like, holy crap, I want to go to church there. We had a chapel on post, man. I wanted to go to a real Catholic church, and it's something else with the giant vaulted ceilings. Oh. Merry Christmas, Michael. Now, Mike, the Comic Relief Crusader, says he visited one in Hamburg with the lion claws on the door. I don't know what that is. Do you know what that is, Anima? What he's talking about?
I've never been to Hamburg, so no.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
But we have big.
I know it's probably a language barrier that made you not go.
Jesus fucking Christ! I changed trains there twice. I never saw the
I speak High German. I don't understand them in their hillbilly accents.
actually, I watch TV shows that are German, and whenever they have Austrians on, all the German viewers start whining that they need subtitles. And Austrian viewers are completely fine with and Austrian viewers are completely fine with whatever German dialect they are being shown. But the Germans, as soon as it sounds a little Austrian, I need subtitles. I don't understand anything. It's hilarious. It's like you've never been outside your own village, or what?
It's funnier. It's funnier. I once saw a BBC news program on BBC America where they interviewed a Highland Scotsman, and they subtitled him in English.
Oh, I've seen the one you're talking about, and it's hilarious.
It is,
dude. Even people from Scotland have trouble understanding him because he has such a heavy dialect. His dialect is so thick that even other Scottish people are like, "What did he say?" It's sort of that joke that's in the animated film Brave by Disney. It was actually a good film where you have Kevin Kidd plays the voice of his father and the son has that ancient brogue that he'll say something and everybody just sort of we don't, did he say, does anybody know what he said? Nobody knows what he said.
Well,
looks like Kevin Mars in Young Frankenstein. Footsteps, footsteps, footsteps.
Oh yeah.
the most western part of Austria, they speak German like the Swiss people do. And people from Eastern Austria have a really hard time understanding them. It's the same for Germany. There's some dialects that are just really, really hard. Because he mentioned Scottish. Paul McGillian, he plays the Doctor on Stargate Atlantis. He wanted to make the Doctor Scottish, but the producers were against it. So he had to tell them, dude, we don't all speak like the people on Train Spotting. You can actually understand it. It just sounds Scottish. So they let him do it, thankfully. That doctor needed to be Scottish. Is that the one in Hamburg?
Could you imagine a surgeon giving somebody an order with a thick Scottish accent and nobody knowing what to do, and the patient dies? That'd be fucking hilarious.
Not happening. What is Sander talking about?
What?
I don't know. He's just throwing out German
Lilf?
words. I don't know what that means.
I think doesn't that mean like finesse, Lilf?
I don't know. This one means fast. That's like right now, immediately. And those are just adverbs. I don't know. You weird, Sander. Even for us, you're weird.
So anyway, the picture that's on there, that's the cathedral downtown San Antonio I was talking about.
Mm.
Small
Isn't that
child.
gorgeous?
That's small for Texas.
Well, I got to tell you, when I'm walking there, because it looks sand colored, but when I was there, it was overcast and it looked gray as shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's the kind of stone that they use. They have to clean it all the time. We have that everywhere here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Rome has that problem.
Here's one you agree with, Gary.
What's that?
Austrian German is just so much nicer to listen to than German.
Well, it is. It's melodic. I agree. I like hearing Anima when she speaks it. I eavesdrop on some of the conversations. Occasionally, I understand some of what they're saying. Then I'm lost. I'm like, okay, I don't know what's going on here.
You're practicing though. You're getting into it.
The only German I know is I had to learn to sing Beethoven's Ninth Symphony Ode to Joy.
Ah, Freude schöner Götterfunken. Yeah.
Hey,
yes.
I got to tell you,
I'm sorry, but nothing in those words sounds like joy.
The music
does.
Dude.
The music
does, yes, but the lyrics, holy cow! I had to learn to read and pronounce German, and I can read it, pronounce it, and I have no idea what I'm saying or singing.
It is written for music German. It's not the way we talk.
Well, yeah, but it was also written for piano, and if you've ever tried to sing it, Beethoven thought that singers could do octave jumps like no problem, and it's like, no, we can't.
I know.
Damn it!
Man, he's one of the most tragic personalities in classical music. Imagine having so much music in your head and losing your ability to hear.
Yes.
And because he heard the music in his head, and he would lay his head on the piano.
Yeah.
To feel the sound.
He would also play really loudly to be able to hear at least a little bit. That's why he had so many houses being like Beethoven lived here. They have this plaquettes on it because he had to move constantly because he was just too loud for people to bear him as a neighbor.
Noise complaint.
Sad.
Yeah, noise complaint.
Yeah.
John Wick reference.
They do it.
That's why I say he was the father of heavy metal.
Houses where composers lived and famous people, they all get their signs that so-and-so lived here. And Beethoven beats them all because he had so many places where he lived because he had to move all the time from the moment he began to lose his hearing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the father of metal, and Amadeus is the father of punk.
Oh, absolutely. Mozart was the first punk.
Now I've got a well, I don't know if it's appropriate for your stream, Gary, but Chopin and Franz Liszt once made a bet that who could write a piece of piano music the other couldn't play. And of course, Chopin wrote some of the world's most incredibly diabolically difficult etudes. A girlfriend I had who was studying for a while to be a professional pianist played me the Black Key Etude, and it's in F sharp minor, and like all but two notes are on the black keys of the piano keyboard.
Dude,
And
that is one of the most wicked you can be in F sharp minor. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yes. So Liszt wrote a piece and Chopin
That's like
wrote a
what,
piece.
6 B's in front? Jesus.
And Chopin went first, played Liszt's piece, sight read it perfectly. And then Liszt sat down at the piano and Chopin handed him the piece. And at the end of it, Liszt's hands were at the bottom and the top of the keyboard, and there was a note in the middle. And he couldn't play it because, I mean, his hands were too far away. So he said, all right, you're so smart, you play it. And Chopin sat down, played the piece, and then when he got to the end and he ran up the keyboard with his right hand and down the keyboard with his left hand, he played the last note with his nose.
I love it. But yeah.
This is the most well-known Chopin piece right here.
Hold on. To those of you who didn't grow up or study classical music, etude means practice piece. So
yes.
They're often played in concerts too, but they are meant to be just for practicing your skills originally.
Yeah, and I will tell you, if you try and find a recording of the Chopin etudes,
good
luck. Yeah. There are only a few professional pianists who have been willing.
I have a sister who is a pianist, and she's not a fan of Chopin. I mean, she is of his music, but playing it is a different pony. So
they are they are intended to be impossible to play, so that you can practice with them and make everything else look easy. And I've got one very good recording of the Chopin etudes. But they're absolutely glorious to listen to because he was brilliant, but they are impossible to play.
It's so hard.
And I played two-part inventions by Bach, and that was about the limit of my ability on a piano.
Since we're doing classical music nerdism, Mozart is philosophic. I disagree because they say Mozart is so complicated that kids get him better than adults.
Well, one of the funny things in the movie Amadeus is when the king, Ludwig or whatever his name was, he's asked to criticize Mozart's music. He says there are too many notes.
Mm-hmm. Actually, there is a I think Japanese production of a movie about Mozart. If you ever come across that and you see Mozart and his sister play the piano, Hans playing the piano is my youngest sister. She covered that. They filmed in Vienna and she was the piano duo. She was in costume for a couple of shots, but all the piano scenes where you see the kids' hands playing the piano, that was my sister.
Really? That's cool.
Yeah, very proud of her.
Wow.
She loved the hairstyle. She hated getting it done because it took an hour and a half just for the hair. But she loved the look. She was like 9, I think, when they did it. Oh, Martine, you can't even compare Mozart and Wagner. Those are two different universes.
Yes. What do you expect from an opera? A happy
I
ending?
grew up on Wagner. Dude, I was 6 years old and my
Wagner is
childhood
the
hero
be
was
all
fucking
and all.
Siegfried. That's how weird I am. That's the nerd I am. My childhood hero was Siegfried.
My childhood hero was Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, I grew up without television, more or less. So,
Yeah.
what are the odds that I end up on a channel like this?
Gary,
Yeah, man.
get the golden collection of Warner Brothers cartoons for Anima.
The ones that aren't shown on TV anymore.
They haven't been shown unedited since the 1990s.
No, they won't show them at all because they're considered by today's standards racist.
Yeah. And violent and you name it, which is, I mean, that's the one thing I could actually put content on my channel about, and nobody's ever seen the damn things because they've been censored for so long and banned. It sucks. But yeah, Warner Home Video, I think it's Warner Home or one of them. I think it's Warner Home Video put out, I don't know, something like 4 CD collections each. A collection of 4 CDs. So 24 CDs of all sorts of Warner Brothers, Looney Tunes, Merry Melodies, cartoons, and they're unedited. They have warnings at the beginning. You have to sit through a minute of Whoopi Goldberg telling you how, horrible these are. And then they're absolutely amazing. And they have commentary, some of them. And What's Opera Doc, which is the one, which is the Wagner ring cycle with Elmer Fudd and Bugs Bunny. And Elmer finally kills the Wabbit, and he carries him off.
Wabbit.
Yes, he's carrying him off into the setting sun, and Bugs is draped over his arms, and Bugs looks up at the camera and says, "What did you expect in an opera? A happy ending?"
Yeah, he's playing Brunhilde, right?
He does. He plays Brunhilde. Yes. And it's and the other one that's in that collection is the Rabbit of Seville, which is a
oh my god, yes.
Yeah. And then Bugs chews on the carrot at the end of it.
The Barber of Seville. Yeah.
Yeah, from the Barber of Seville. And Bugs chews on his camera and on his carrot and looks into the camera and says, "Next."
Guys, I need to go.
All right.
So,
all right, man. Merry Christmas, Martin.
Merry Christmas back to you, man. To you and all of you, the chat, the panel, the audience, and I gotta go. So, have fun. See ya.
Ciao,
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
And as a gift, I'll play this. This is a new song. Anima likes it. It's my Tom Petty style song.
Every time we talk, they shut me down. They shut me down. They can't hear you. Like talking in the wind. You can't catch your breath. You can't find a friend. And I can't breathe. I have lost my voice. It's like I don't exist. Like I haven't got a choice. set me free. With you I'm safe from all the noise. You give me shelter. You hear my voice because I can't breathe. I have lost my voice. It's like I don't exist. Like I haven't got a choice. I can't breathe. My throat is tight. And I wanna call for help, but nothing feels right. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't breathe until you set me free.
What do you guys think?
I like it.
It's if you didn't hear what I said it's my Tom Petty song, because I have artists that I will just want to do tribute to, and so I kind of throw a little style in there from them. And there's a hint of Sarah Bareilles in the piano because I like the way I'm not fond of her lyrics a lot because they're very jaded and cynical. If you really pay attention, in a bad way, it's like the song "Love Song." There's a hint of it in the piano in this. And basically, when you listen to that song and you realize what it's about, it's kind of a very cynical song because it's not about a guy. It's about the record label demanding a love song from her. And so she wrote a song that I won't write you a love song. But it sounds like a love song the way she wrote it. It's clever, but it's very jaded and cynical. Merry Christmas, Penny. Have a good day today.
Merry Christmas.
I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas. Going to wrap up here. Let's see. Penny, of course. Tom Baker, Gap After Dark, Country Shape Media, Jacob the Critic, my buddy Jacob. He moved up north here in Missouri. He's up close to where John lives now.
Oh.
Das Wolfen, yeah. I'm hoping Das Wolfen will move back down here. I'd love to see him more often. Michael Beacon, Patrick Jordan.
Meeting him.
Isn't he a sweetheart, though? He's such a lovable guy.
Oh, yeah.
Hollowfield, Slasher Fred, Real Wade, the Peter Venkman fan site, also known as Venkman's Girl, Jed Radenwolf, FKC 2005, also known as Tim, Kingsport Cal, Sander Hammerschlag, Andy Morrow, Comic Relief Crusader, Helen Place, and Tree Rock Creations. I want you guys all to enjoy the rest of this day. Merry Christmas. It'll be New Year's soon. And I'm not sure what we're going to do on the channel for New Year's. We'll decide in between now and then. I might do,
Sandra, if you want to talk classical music with me, hit me up on Twitter or Facebook.
Now,
you know my name, you know my picture.
Sandra says, jawohl. So we're going to get out of here. I enjoyed this movie so much. And I tell people, if you like the story of A Christmas Carol, I believe this to be one of the best iterations of the story.
He is the best Scrooge ever.
Even with the crappy English accent, I agree. There's enough English people in the film to make up for it.
Jesus Christ, it's not a crappy fuck off.
He's got a terrible accent. But I love him as Scrooge because nobody rages like George C. Scott. And I'm going to eventually create a rage video of how many films, even in the movie called Rage, he rages. The movie's called Rage. And Zach's asked me to make a comical video of George C. Scott when he loses his shit in the movie Hardcore, where he finds out that his daughter has been used in prostitution and porn. And he watches sees her in this film, and that scene where he's like tearing the seat up in front of him, breaking it, it just, God damn, George C. Scott, nobody can act like that guy. He's trying to find her, trying to bring her back home. Great story, dark subject matter, dark premise, but it's a very good film. It's called Hardcore, George C. Scott. And I think one of the best films with him had one of an ad-lib moment in it that he did, because he was frustrated working with Stanley Kubrick. It's why he never worked with him again. He was agitated and irritated with him. And one of the things that made him angry is when he finally saw the final film, he realized that he was tricked by Kubrick, because he would do a scene the way Kubrick wanted it, and then he would do the scene that he felt worked better. And Kubrick used only the scenes that he wanted and not the ones George wanted. And he was very offended by that. But the scene where he falls, rolls on the ground, and gets back up and continues talking, absolutely ad-libbed. He actually slipped and fell and got right back and kept talking. That's Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Accept and Love the Bomb.
Yeah, that's a horror movie.
It really is when you think about it, yes.
Merry Christmas, Joe.
Stanley Kubrick's answer to Henry Fonda's film, where he ends up having to destroy an American city as the president because they accidentally blew up a Russian city. Failsafe is the name of the book and film.
Mm-hmm.
And so Kubrick wanted to make a comedy out of that.
Yeah,
Kubrick.
that's one of those movies I can't watch twice.
Yeah, Failsafe. Man,
No.
it's a watch. You
No.
should watch.
No,
Oh, which
Dr. Strangelove.
Oh, well, because it's long. It's long in the tooth.
Well, it's long, and I mean, I love Peter Sellers in his non-Clouseau roles, but I can't watch that movie again.
Yeah. It's
Like
a film,
said.
I think, that you do it for assessment reasons only.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, everybody, happy Christmas, and we'll see you real soon on Friday, TGIF. And I don't even know what we're doing on Friday. I don't keep tabs.
I don't either.
I just, these shows and these films, I know inside and out. So I just show up and like, what are we talking about today? Oh, yeah. And then I just start talking about the film or show.
I
And,
usually know what we're doing that week, but for Friday, I don't know. We do Gremlins 2 on Saturday. But Friday,
that's
I
going to be
no
fun.
clue.
I'm hoping Tom will be there.
I
So before we go, this is, of course, our plug for the show. Hey, guys, don't forget to click that like, subscribe, and notification button. We appreciate you watching the show. Now, back to it. Yeah, back to it.
And out. I'm done. I need to.
Anima really finds it funny, by the way, when I leave messages for people, because I get nervous
Oh my God.
when I get an answering machine. And like one of my favorites that I ever did was for
The messages
Dale,
he's leaving.
Dale
on the
Dye
voice
and
is-
Julia Dye.
Oh.
So I called their house, and then I got the machine. I didn't expect it. I figured they would answer. And I just started doing a little old man voice. I went, hello, is this 911? Hello, 911? Oh, Lord, I fell down. I'm stuck between the toilet and the wall, and I can't get to the button. And I dialed. I thought this is 911. Hello. Oh, I hope somebody comes and gets me.
He leaves the most fucked up voice messages ever.
And Dale and Julia got back and heard that, and like Dale's like, "What the hell?" Julia sits there for a minute. Then she immediately starts looking for people who've called, and she saw 417, and she's like, Gary.
I'm not giving you my phone number.
With Gary, and I had to mute because he was leaving a fucked up voice message. I couldn't stop myself from laughing, so I had to mute.
Yeah, like Mac, I'll leave him weird messages. Hey, you. Like, hey there, Billy Bob. Yeah, this is Martin down at the Western store. Yeah, we got your brand new gay saddle for your gay rodeo, the one with full fisting action in the saddle. But you asked me if it plugs in or uses batteries. The answer is batteries. It uses batteries. Okay, so anyway, call me back. I just, and the spontaneous stuff, it'll just like come out of my head and I'll just say something to people.
Gary,
I
you're
fucking
out of your head.
hate leaving messages. I just
you're
hate
a
it.
menace.
I cannot tell you how many times I fucked with Josh Becker, leaving him fucked up messages. And I got a husband in trouble with his wife one time. Like, hello, this is Raul down at Love and Times. Yes, your T1000 fisting and anal grope is in. And it does, I will tell you now, it comes with batteries, so you don't have to buy extra batteries. And it does come with the cleaning lotion, so you don't leave any of those nasty anal juices on there. So anyway, you can pick that up here at 11 Times at any time. All right, thank you. His wife got so fucking angry.
Gary, your gay voice sucks.
Oh, I've got a really good one. Listen here, mister.
Hold on. You don't do that unless you're paid, Gary. Stop it.
If it doesn't sound like there's steam escaping, it isn't that way.
Now listen here,
You're
mister.
good, Richard.
It's all right. Sounds like a straight guy trying to be gay.
Oh, Gary's only supposed to talk gay when he's paid for it.
Yeah, I know. There you go. Right there. That is one of my favorite lines in the film. When he stands up from the wheelchair, Dr. Strangelove.
Yes.
Yeah, I can rock. All right, we're getting the hell out of here. Merry Christmas, everybody. Please have a safe holiday.
Merry Christmas.
We'll see you Friday.
Merry
Ciao.
fucking Christmas.
Minefield does not support. Jesus.
That's all, folks.